Hello, darling. Come in and welcome to Thriller Video. I'm your hostess, the girl who put the bra back into Bravo, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And as you can see, the place is kind of a mess. I was just doing a little spring cleaning. I always clean my house once a year, whether it needs it or not. Boy, I tell you, I just cannot believe how much junk I've got around here. Well, I've got everything here, but... Nope. I've got everything here. Oh, look! My old high school yearbook! Transylvania High School and Rehabilitation Center, 19... can't quite read the date. Let me see, anyway, what page am I on? I'll just look it up here in the index. Oh, here it is, Mistress of the Dalmatians, Mistress of the Daffodils, of the Danube. Oh, Mistress of the Dark, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, page 69. Well, let me just find out what it says about me here. Oh, here I am. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Home Wrecking Queen, Frenching Club, Teacher's Pet. Ain't that the truth? Every teacher I ever met was trying to pet me. And the girl voted most likely, too. Oh, my gosh, here's my picture. Look at this, boy. This sure brings back memories. Memories. You know, I would just love to go back to the old school someday for a reunion. Except every time you go back to those things, the men are always bald and the women are all fat. Or is it the other way around? Anyway, your picture tonight is called The 13th Reunion. And strangely enough, it's about this nosy reporter who gets an assignment to write a story about a fat farm. Now, why anyone would want to farm fat is beyond me. But wait till you see the strange goings-on she uncovers. It's pretty grisly, so here's a word of warning.
If you don't fancy it, don't look.
Sound advice. I'll be back a little later on in the movie, so until then, Thriller Video cordially invites you to attend the 13th Reunion.
What's the damage?
Contusions on the chest and arms. Slight bruising on the lower abdomen. Otherwise, there's not a mark.
Splendid.
Hi.
Morning, Ruth. Hey, stop. Turn round. You're overweight.
So, what's new?
How'd you like to start fighting the flab?
So long as it doesn't involve any exercise or cutting down on any of my food.
All it involves is a large dose of masochism. Listen to this. Dear Gwen, I've just completed a 10-week course with a new weight-reducing organization called Think Thin. Physically, it was a success. I lost nearly 1.5 stones, but at what a price. The technique they use destroys all your self-confidence, and I'm sure it could turn someone with a mental or psychological problem into a nervous wreck. Why don't you get one of your reporters to take the course? It'd make an interesting article, and you'd be doing a public service. Well?
Oh, great. The assignment of the year. And what made you think of little old me?
Not so little. That's why I'm offering you a world exclusive.
Well, why don't you get one of the fellas to go? They're more overweight than I am.
This is the women's page, Lovey, and our readers are not interested in overweight men. They're interested in themselves and new ways of keeping slim, young, and beautiful.
Well, I don't know why we have a woman's page. We don't have a men's page. I mean, how are we going to get rid of sexism in this country if even Fleet Street think that women are self-centered morons with no minds of their own?
Ours not to reason why, ours just to increase the female readership of the paper.
Yes, well, I'd like to write about the real world for a change. You know, the real heartaches, the shocks that flesh is heir to. Oh, it's just that I am fed up with fashion shows and potted plants and perfect kitchens.
Ruth! You can't go walking about with Epping Forest on your shoulder. If you want to be independent, then resign and write a bestseller.
Well, do you have any background stuff on this place?
Not much. It's based at the Chesterton Clinic. So presumably it's funded by the same foundation.
Chesterton? Do you know who runs it?
A man called Willis.
Willis.
Used to be a PE teacher at a South London comprehensive. 6 months after he resigned, he emerged as the director of Think Thin.
How long do I have to stick with this?
As long as you can. I suggest you do some short interim reports, and then we'll do a big spread when you're finished. Right?
Okay.
Oh, and Ruth, get Roland to get a shot of you each week so that the readers can follow your progress.
Progress? Why do you skeletons assume that cutting everybody down to your size is progress? I'm with Caesar. Let me have men that are fat.
Just taken a call. There's another big one coming in soon.
Clean bill of health?
Of course.
How old?
Late 20s.
Shame. Those whom the gods love, eh?
Shh. Door.
Do you like looking so unattractive, Joyce? You enjoy making men turn away in disgust? Then what makes you so greedy? What makes you stuff your face with starchy foods all day?
No. Boredom, I suppose.
Boredom? What have you got to be bored about, Joyce? You say you love your husband, you love your children.
Yes, but they're always away. I'm lonely.
Well, do something about it, you stupid cow! Start jogging, start a creche, a political party, anything to take your mind off your guts. Have you looked in the mirror lately? Yeah. That is why your husband stays out late at the office. Putting off the moment when he's got to come back to a quivering mountain of fat. It's all right, Joyce. It's all right. Here. I think you'll get the message. Off you go. Right. Ben, stand up and be counted. Well, what do you think, folks? A slight improvement. Oh, I think you can see an image of the slim inner male there. How much have you lost, Ben?
I haven't. Matter of fact, I've gained a couple of pounds.
Well, doesn't show. You're thinking thin. Now that's important. Congratulations, Ben. Right, we've got a first-time fatty with us tonight. You'd like to come forward, Ruth? You got that photograph? Yes? As I thought. Nothing congenital about your condition, is there?
No.
Well, you're going to have to pull yourself together, young lady. Start counting the calories. Because if you don't, you will be as big as a house by the time you're 40.
Thanks.
What is this? Are you striking a blow for Fatty's lip?
Willis's orders.
You're joking.
It's true. He told me after the class to have a big blowout tonight.
That's carrying the snobbery a bit far.
He says I'm a special case. I've been on a protein and citrus fruit diet for 2 weeks now, and I've hardly lost any weight at all. So Willis suggested I take in some extra fat to give the citrus juice something to work on. Oh, and he's given me a pill to take afterwards to speed up my metabolism.
Sounds crazy to me. But then half these diets are so far out, they sound as if they were thought up on April Fool's Day. You know, some freak wrote to us and said that she'd lost 2 stone on potatoes and ice cream.
You get many freak letters at the paper?
Sackfuls. Mainly about sex. Today is the age of anxiety, with just about everyone feeling inadequate.
Yes. And I'm no exception.
Why? Because your marriage failed?
Partly. And partly because I seem to bore people. I'm expecting your eyes to glaze over long before we come to the coffee.
You want me to wear dark glasses?
Wouldn't do any good. I'd be imagining the boredom even if it wasn't there. Is your, coast clear, men-wise?
My coast is so clear you can see right down to the seabed, and there's only a couple of wrecks down there.
Good.
And how about your coast, woman-wise?
Hasn't been a vessel in sight for over a year.
Sounds idyllic. I just love uninhabited islands.
Thanks, Ruth.
What for?
Not glazing over.
Don't knock yourself. You're more special than you think.
I'll walk you to your car. Okay. Oh. I hope Willis knows what he's doing. I feel absolutely bloated.
Do you know what he asked me at my interview? He asked whether I'd ever suffered from food poisoning.
Yes. He asked me that too. It's rather odd, I thought.
Perhaps it's dangerous for somebody who suffered from salmonella. Might bring it on again or something.
Perhaps.
Well?
Well?
Well, that wasn't boring at all.
May I phone you?
Give me your hand.
What's that?
My phone number.
that guy used to use Head and Shoulders. Now it looks like he'll only be using shoulders. Well, he said he wanted to lose 10 pounds of ugly fat. Little did he know he'd be losing it all at once. Boy, I don't know why he didn't just try using that body wrap they used on the other guy. That worked great. I mean, he was as thin as a rail. Anyway, it came as no surprise to me that he drove off the road and wrapped his car around a tree. I mean, after all, why do you think they call it a crash diet? Oh, me. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Good.
Oh, glad you agree. Boy, you may have lost your head, but you sure haven't lost your sense of humor. But that guy who runs the weight loss clinic sure doesn't have much of a sense of humor. He was kind of like a cross between Richard Simmons and the Marquis de Sade. I mean, screaming at that poor little chubette like that. She wanted to reduce her blubber, and he reduced her to a blubbering idiot. Anyway, let's get back to our roving reporter. Wait till you see what they've got cooked up for her next. She meets up with this couple of characters who are some real cut-ups. Don't ask me to explain. Just watch.
Hello?
Miss Cairns,
Speaking.
this is the Hertfordshire Police, miss. Are you acquainted with a Mr. Ben Faraday?
Yes, I am. Why? Is something the matter?
I'm afraid Mr. Faraday has had an accident, miss. He drove off the road last night and crashed into a tree.
Crashed? Well, is he badly hurt?
He's dead, miss. He must have died instantly.
Oh. How did you get my number?
It was written on his hand. You know where we can get in touch with his next of kin?
No. No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Excuse me, are you a reporter?
Yes.
Could I have a word with you?
What about?
I don't mean here. Later. Somewhere private.
Now listen, Andrew. Before you say another word, I write for the woman's page. And frankly, stories about funeral directors don't make ladies' hearts go pitter-patter.
It doesn't matter. I've just got to talk to somebody.
Okay.
That man who died, was he a friend or a relation?
A friend?
Was he big? Or on the plump side?
Well, you handled his funeral. You must have seen him.
No. They wouldn't let me.
Well, who wouldn't?
The bosses, Mr. Basil and Mr. Cedric.
Why not?
They just said they wanted to dress this particular corpse themselves.
But that is usually your job.
One of them, yes. There used to be another man, but he retired. Now there's just me.
Now, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You say you didn't see the body.
No.
So how did you know that he was on the plump side?
Sorry. I heard them talking. Mr. Cedric told Mr. Basil that there was another big one coming in.
Another big one?
Yes. That started me thinking. You see, the same thing happened about, 6 months ago.
There was a body they wouldn't let you see.
Yes. Only that time I did see it. I sneaked into the refrigeration room while they were out.
Why?
I don't know. I suppose I thought it might be somebody famous. Somebody who wasn't supposed to be dead.
Or was it?
No. He was fat. And it looked as if he'd been in a car accident.
So, 2 fat men are killed on the road in 6 months. I don't see that it's anything to get so screwed up about.
Okay, listen. Do you know why we handled your friend's funeral? Because Mr. Cedric just happened to be driving along the same road after he crashed. Another man is Mr. Basil, who found the body after his crash.
Coincidence, it must be.
No, I think there's something funny going on.
You think they're trying to increase their turnover by faking accidents? Look, if that's what you suspect, why did you go to the police?
I've no proof. Anyway, they think it was a nutter. Just like you do.
No, Andrew, I don't think that. It's just I don't know how I can help.
You can be a witness.
Witness?
That coffin's not been buried, you know. It's been taken to a family vault about 2 miles away. I plan to break in tonight and open it. You can tell me if it's your friend.
You mean you think it won't be?
I'm not sure. All I know is I won't be able to rest until I know that everything's okay.
You realize you'll be committing a crime?
Of course. I know the law.
And that I'd be an accessory?
Please yourself. I'll do it on my own if I have to.
I'll bring some garlic. Dracula might try and turn us into the undead.
Maybe it's Dracula.
That doesn't sound so funny in here. Why is he bandaged up like that?
Search me. We used to dress them in their best clothes.
What are you doing?
We came here to make a check, didn't we?
No, Andrew, please.
It's only a body. Your mate's get no further use for it. I don't think he'd care.
I care. It's desecration.
If you don't fancy it, don't look. Okay, so now we can go to the police.
And what are we going to tell them?
That the governor's been mutilating corpses. It's a very serious offence, that.
So is breaking into private vaults and opening coffins. We'll only get ourselves into trouble.
Yeah.
Besides, maybe my chance to get off the woman's page. Show that big white chief exactly what I can do.
What? Play detective, do you mean?
If we can discover what they're up to, I can give that paper a real exclusive.
I know where we can start.
Where?
That other time 6 months ago. The following morning, I saw Mr. Cedric and Mr. Basil loading a coffin onto a hearse.
What does that prove?
That's usually the pallbearer's job. And they'd nothing on that day. I've already checked the diary.
Well, maybe the coffin was empty, or they were on their way to fetch a corpse.
No. From the way they were struggling, there was obviously something inside the coffin.
Maybe it was a private funeral. Too private to be in the diaries.
I checked the limousines as well. They were all in the garage. Have you ever heard of a funeral with no cards for the mourners?
You think the same thing may happen tomorrow?
Well, if you were to park outside our yard, you'd find out, wouldn't you?
It's perfectly in order. The usual amount.
The usual amount.
Thank you.
Another satisfactory transaction on both sides. I'll be in touch when we need further supplies.
We may be forced to increase our prices, Mr. Rothwell, if the frequency goes on increasing.
No?
Cost of living. You understand.
In a manner of speaking, sir.
And the risks involved.
Very well. Shall we say an extra 5%?
Of course, if we knew the exact purpose you require them for.
10%.
Thank you, Mr. Rothwell, as long as you're satisfied with the service we provide.
Thank you. We have no complaints. I shall be in touch.
Good. Good.
Goodbye, Mr. Rothwell. Until the next time.
Since the series of successful heart transplant operations which first brought the Chesterton into the public eye, a team of surgeons and technicians has been conducting experiments into the replacement of damaged limbs. And a spokesman announced recently that he believed it would not be long before the bionic man became a reality.
Limb transplants. So, Doctor, what do you think?
20th century body snatchers. Shades of Birken hair.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew's right. There is something funny going on. Look, I would like to follow it up.
But it isn't our territory. And even if you do come up with a story, the big white chief will probably take it away from you.
Well, I shall resign. And I shall write the bestseller.
Okay. I think you deserve a shot at it.
Thank you. Doctor, I shall need a referral letter.
Oh, yes. Intermittent claudication of the left leg. That's your trouble.
Oh.
The condition has been deteriorating considerably during the last 6 months. I shall recommend a vein transplant.
Chesterton Clinic? No, never heard of it.
Are you sure? Was there nothing in the diaries?
No, I'm quite sure.
Well, there obviously is a connection. It looks to me as if the Chesterton Trust has come to some kind of secret deal with your bosses.
What? To supply them with arms and legs, do you mean? It's quite creepy.
It's a nasty racket. I think it ought to be exposed.
You plan to suss it out then, this clinic?
I'm going to try and get myself admitted as a patient. Now, if I discover any concrete evidence, I'm not going to hang around there. What I'll do is I'll check myself out, and I'll come and find you, and then we can go to the police together. Okay?
Okay. I've got 3 jobs on tomorrow, so I'll be working late tonight. I should be here till about 11 o'clock, if you need me.
Right.
Right. By the way, I'd be careful if I were you. If they really did fix up those accidents, you wouldn't think twice about fixing yours.
Well, if they do, Andrew, I expect you to give me a royal send-off.
How old are you, Miss Cairns?
I'm 29.
And how far can you walk without pain?
Not very far. By the time I get home in the evenings, the leg is throbbing away like mad.
The doctor thinks a vein transplant might be appropriate. Could you explain what that involves?
I believe it means replacing the defective artery with a vein from the other leg.
That's right. If you have a blockage which is causing circulatory problems, it can be very serious. Not long ago, we'd have had to amputate. And nowadays, we can offer a less drastic alternative.
Good for you.
And the culture. Let's have a look at you.
Right.
Dr. Bradley. I don't believe he's referred a patient to us before.
Well, he certainly seemed to know all about you. Said you were way ahead of the rest of the field.
Your GP, is he?
Yes. He's also medical correspondent on the newspaper that I work for.
Diagnosis by proxy. I'm not sure I approve of that.
He doesn't give instant answers. If somebody has a specific problem, he tells them to go to their own doctor.
Sensible fellow. Would you stand up, please?
Yes.
That head?
Yes.
What about that? We'll have to take some tests, Miss Cairns. How soon could you come in?
How soon could you take me?
Tonight?
unexpected guest, eh? What are you after, my dear? The silver?
No, I was just driving past and I happened to see the house. I have this thing about English country houses.
So you thought you'd pay us a visit? How nice. Are you hungry?
Well,
Crenshaw, set another place for dinner.
Yes, sir.
May I know your name?
Cairns. Ruth Cairns.
I'm Humphrey Chesterton. Come and meet the others. Ruth Cairns, everyone. An old friend who just happened to be passing. Now, this is Peter Atkins, Joan Hubbard, Luciano Rossi from Italy, Angela Rook, Mr. Lim from Hong Kong, and Jack Rothwell.
Good evening, Miss Cairns. That gammy leg of yours doesn't prevent you from using the clutch pedal, I see.
She's staying to dinner?
Why not? We've more than enough to go round.
But I'm free.
She's staying, Luciano.
Of course.
Glass of champagne, my dear. It's a particularly fine vintage.
Thank you.
Sometimes.
Bit frightening, aren't they? When I first came, I was absolutely petrified. But they're not a bad lot, really, not when you get to know them.
Are you a friend of Sir Humphrey's?
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what's that common-looking woman doing in a posh house like this?
No, I wasn't, I assure you.
Of course you were. It's all right, love. I still can't believe it myself after all this time. Joan Hubbard from Bolton, hobnobbing with the gentry. Do you know, I still have to pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming.
There we are, my dear. Your very good health.
Cheers.
If you'll excuse me.
Oh, he's a good host, isn't he? Such perfect manners. Oh, and attractive, too. A rich, handsome widower. Oh, he'd make a grand catch, wouldn't he?
How long have you known him?
Humphrey? Oh, just over a year.
Well, how did you meet?
On a plane. Well, that's how we all met.
Oh. Well, you mean you were all on the same flight?
Yes. Yes. From London to Marrakesh.
Oh. Marrakesh. You mean the one that
crashed in the Atlas Mountains? Yes. We're the only survivors.
So this is a sort of reunion?
That's right, yes. We meet once a month. This is our 13th.
But why? Oh, I'd have thought it was an experience that you'd rather forget.
We like to remember the others. The passengers what died. My husband, for one. We were sitting right next to each other. And yet all I got were a couple of bruises.
Well, you were lucky. How long was it before they found you? 2 weeks?
2.5.
Amazing. Well, the papers said it was a miracle. The search parties had given up hope of finding anyone alive.
They shouldn't have done. It's extraordinary how canny people can be when they're up against it. The things they can bring themselves to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served.
Sorry to hear about your wife, Luciano. Still, she went quickly. That must have been a blessing.
It was. She was in great pain. Still, if she had lived, it would have only prolonged the suffering.
Yes, when I lost my poor dear Penelope, it was some consolation that her death was instantaneous.
What happened to her?
A riding accident. Well, we have a great black mare called Thundercloud. Moody beast, unpredictable. Penelope thought she could control her. Turned out she couldn't.
Have you thought of marrying again, Humphrey?
I've thought of it, but you know how it is. At my age, one gets rather set in one's ways. Difficult to find a woman who's prepared to adapt.
How about you, Ruth? Are you married?
No. No, I'm a workaholic. Difficult to find a man who's prepared to adapt.
Perhaps you and Humphrey should get together.
I doubt if our tastes would coincide.
Why do you say that? Well, you don't even know me at all.
True. But with such an age gap between us, I think there might also be a credibility gap. I'm a creature of habit, my dear, and you might find some of my habits a little eccentric.
I'm sure she'd come to share them, Humphrey, in time.
I doubt it. I doubt if anyone could share them who hasn't had to make a virtue of necessity. Crenshaw. I believe we're ready for the main course.
Yes, sir.
Something the matter, my dear?
I know who's under there. Oh, I think you're all disgusting.
You think it's wise to let her run off like that?
If she doesn't want to stay, that's her funeral. By the way, I hope you can all stay the night, because tomorrow I think I can promise you a very special meal.
No use, I'm afraid.
Yes. I was on that plane as well.
Keep your finger off that eject button. I'm coming back to haunt you right after these credits. Well, I guess the moral of the story is you are what you eat. Or maybe in this case it should be you are who you eat. Whoa, when those people said they were having guests for dinner, they mean they were having guests for dinner. Well, what should it be tonight? Japanese? Chinese? Or how about a little Italian?
Something the matter, my dear?
Oh, no, nothing at all. Just cancel my order of ribs. Anyway, you remember that guy who was posing as a doctor? Well, that guy used to be my agent. I recognize the old casting couch in his office. It kind of figured, though. I mean, those agents are always trying to get their cut.
10%.
Yeah, sure, baby. You're beautiful. Let's have lunch. On second thought, let's not have lunch. Well, kids, I certainly did enjoy chewing the fat with you, so to speak. But I'll be back again with some other delicious delicacies from Thriller Video. And here's a little taste.
Mad scientists shouldn't fool with Mother Nature. It can cause accidents of the deadly kind.
Now look here, mister. You trying to tell me that these walking fish are strong enough now to kill somebody? Because if you are, I'm taking a long walk right through that door.
Dangers knocking at your door and popping up just when you least expect it, out of nowhere and for no reason. Is it some madman's mutation, or is it just something in the lake that's out to get you and anyone else who comes into its path? Attack of the swamp creatures. It could ruin your whole day. It can happen in sunshine, or in moonlight, in the best of weather, or in the worst. For the dead of night is a state of mind, that dark, unfathomed region of human consciousness, from which all the unknown terrors of our lives emerge. The dead of night exists in all of us, and no one knows at which strange, unexpected moment it will make itself known. St. Elsewhere's Ed Begley Jr. pays a near-fatal visit back in time.
You can't drive into the past in a modern car because there were no modern cars then. And you can't drive into 1926 along a 4-lane superhighway. But my car and I, the way I felt about it anyway, were literally rejected that night by our own time.
Patrick McNee is a jealous husband leading a double life.
Sleep well, my dear. Your nightmare is ended.
And Joan Hackett's young son returns with a vengeance.
I woke up and remembered who I was.
Let's play hide and seek now, Mommy.
Oh, you're not very good at hide and seek, are you, Mommy?
Bobby hates you, Mommy. So he sent me instead.
A trilogy of mystery, imagination, and terror. Dead of Night. A chilling horror story.
Remember, you can only get them from Thriller Video. I'll be looking for you real soon, and in the meantime, watch what you eat, or you might end up as somebody's rump roast. Until we meet again, bon appetit. And, oh yeah, unpleasant dreams.